Good news, Congress is passing a brand new bill this week. Lawmakers have announced a new plan that will provide hundreds of thousands of Americans with up to $630 in extra financial aid. Now, there are a few requirements in order to be eligible for this new stimulus money. If you want to claim the stimulus check, then be sure to watch until the end of the video. So here is some big news. Hundreds of thousands of families in Pennsylvania could receive the $630 in state child tax care credits after Governor Tom Wolf revealed the details of the Child Independent Care Enhancement Program. As inflation continues on the rise, so does food and gas and other primary expenses for families all over the state. The Pennsylvania plan will help those working families who pay for daycare and are already qualifying for the federal program as well. They'll be able to claim this credit under 2023 tax filing. To be eligible, a household must earn below the $43,000 threshold, so they can get a $350 payment for a child or $630 for one if they have two or more children. The budget was approved earlier this month by the Pennsylvania Senate. Over 200,000 families will see the benefit of the Child Tax Credit Program. In a release, the governor said that cost should never be a barrier for parents looking for an educational, safe, supportive, and fun environment for their children while they work at each day. Now the IRS gets another shot at long-term investments in its taxpayer services. The budget reconciliation package announced this week by Chuck Schumer and Manchin will give the IRS $80 billion over the next 10 years. Schumer said on Wednesday that he expects the Senate to vote on the budget reconciliation bill next week, and the 2022 Inflation Reduction Act would help shrink a growing tax gap between what taxpayers owe and what the agency collects. IRS Commissioner Chuck Reddick told Congress last year a tax gap may be as high as $1 trillion a year, and the package gives the Postal Service $3 billion in funding for the EV vehicles and charging infrastructure. The Biden administration and Democrats first included these spending proposals in the Build Back Better Act, but Manchin eventually rejected the deal early this year. His role in drafting a similar, less expensive package improves his chances of passing the Senate. President Biden said today that the bill has a lot of similarities compared to the Build Back Better Act. Biden stated, "It's not all of it, but we're moved in a long way. With this legislation, we're facing up to some of our biggest problems, and we're taking a giant step forward as a nation." The IRS would have until September 30th, 2031 to spend the money. The IRS received $45 billion towards its enforcement operations, and $25 billion will go toward operation support. Another $4.75 billion will go towards a 6-year modernization effort. Once the spending bill passes, the IRS will have access to the multi-year funds. It says that we are needed to make more progress on modernization goals. More than $3 billion will go toward taxpayer services. And the bill will give the IRS $15 million to prepare for and deliver to Congress a report on the cost of developing and running a free direct e-file tax return system.
Democrats also want a huge new tax hike on American natural gas. Natural gas is the single largest source of electricity generation for our entire country. A plurality of all the power in America comes from, you guessed it, natural gas. It's also how countless families heat their homes. And it's the linchpin of our domestic energy independence and our ability to export to our allies in Europe. But the Green New Deal Democrats are coming straight after American natural gas with huge new tax hikes. The result will be higher electricity bills, higher heating costs, less exporting to our European allies, just as Putin is trying to cut them off, and 90,000 workers in the oil and gas industry, listen to this, out of work. Eliminating 90,000 workers in the oil and gas industry in the process. Democrats' tax hikes on America.
Breaking news, the new House, there's a new update for Social Security, SSDI and SSDI. An extra monthly benefit boost is going to be passed to help seniors cope with rising inflation, meaning that seniors may receive thousands of dollars extra every single year. It's been a tough year for many seniors, no doubt about that. Inflation has been surging, the stock market is falling, and a recession is looking more and more likely. According to a survey from multiple sources, nearly 90% of current retirees say that Social Security is an important source of income. So it's good to understand the upcoming changes to this program and how they can affect your retirement income. It's been a historic year for Social Security, and the changes in 2023 could be massive, folks. Lawmakers are already working together to find ways to improve Social Security. Representative Ted Dutch and Senator Mazie Hirono renewed their call for Congress to strengthen and improve the Social Security program. The SSA released its annual trustees report, which indicated that while the program remained strong in 2017, improvements should be made to ensure that full costs and benefits are payable into the foreseeable future and beyond. Representative Dutch said that the truth is Social Security doesn't add a dime to the deficit. It isn't the retirement bedrock of millions of Americans, and we should keep it that way. Now is the time for Congress, and that Congress should prepare for the future by expanding Social Security, no cuts, no retirement age increases. And last year, Representative Dutch and Senator Rono initially introduced the Protecting Preserving Social Security Act. It would only strengthen and improve the Social Security program by restoring fairness to the bill. And now there is also another bill coming to town. It's being negotiated on in Congress. This bill aims to raise Social Security payments. It could provide senior citizens with an additional $2,400 a year. The Social Security Expansion Act was proposed by Bernie Sanders and Peter DeFazio. Now this would expand Social Security payments by $200 at most. To do so, the bill would raise Social Security taxes on Americans making over $250,000 annually. Now, according to the congressman, once the bill passed, someone who qualifies for Social Security next year could see $200 more per month in payments that they would otherwise have received. CNBC reports that the protecting Social Security is high priority for voters, and a survey by Social Security Works and Data for Progress found 64% of people are very concerned the program will run out of funding to continue paying benefits to future generations. The SSA said last month that the program may only be payable to 80% of its benefits by 2035 without reform. The bill proposed by Sanders and DeFazio would raise the COLA to more accurately reflect how seniors spend their money, folks. And I definitely support this bill, and it's definitely a great idea for President Biden to do something about this.
I have a motion at the desk.
Full report.
Senator from North Dakota, Mr. Hovan, moves to commit the bill H.R. 5376 to the Committee on
I
Finance
ask
with
that the reading be
instructions.
waived.
Without objection.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, the American people are hurting. Inflation has soared to the highest we've seen in 40 years. The Consumer Price Index is now 9.1%. Americans are seeing increased prices at everything from the grocery store to the gas pump. Gas prices are up $2.25 a gallon just since the president took office. Diesel prices since this administration took office are up $2.81. That means 60% more since President Biden took office. Cost of food up more than 12%. We have not only have inflation, we have our economy stagnating as well. Stagflation, something we haven't had since the late 1970s, early 1980s. We have the resources and the capabilities to reduce that inflation, to address the stagnation. This tax and spend bill is not the way to do it.